I hear this big boom outside the house, and it shook my whole house. This gentleman here was sitting on the ground with his face bleeding.
Why did that happen?
I was on my way to pick him up a specialty fish.
She couldn't pay, and she finally just moved out on me.
We noticed a stench to where it ended up making me physically sick. My life has just spiraled out of control. I cannot do it anymore.
Plaintiff Richard Wiley claims the defendant smashed into his pickup truck. He's suing for $4,200 for repairs. Defendant David Howe claims there wouldn't have been an accident if the plaintiff parked his truck safely. He says he owes him nothing.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. All rise. The Honorable Judge Jerry Springer now presiding. Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Najee.
This is case number 194 on the docket, Wiley versus Howe.
We have the plaintiff, Mr. Wiley.
Yes, sir.
You are suing the defendant, Mr. Howe, for $4,200 for damage to your pickup truck.
Yes, sir.
And let's get your side of the story first, and then I'll come to the defendant. Go ahead.
Well, Your Honor, it was Friday afternoon. I came home from work, and I was watching TV in my bedroom, and all of a sudden I hear this big boom outside the house, and it shook my whole house. And next thing you know, my 14-year-old son's smashing at my door, saying, Dad, there's an accident outside the house. A truck and a car just got in an accident. So I said, oh, well, let me go check this out. I put my shoes on, and I walk out. I look out my bedroom door, and I see a truck that looks like mine out in the middle of the street, which was supposed to be parked in my yard, with a black SUV smashed into the side of it. So I went out to see what was going on, and I walked around my truck, and I looked down, and this gentleman here was sitting on the ground with his face bleeding. And he looked up at me, and he says, I'll pay for the damages for your truck. I'm sorry. And I looked at him, and of course I was angry, so I said, dude, what are you, stupid? And I'm like, look what you did. Look at my truck. The frame is broke off. It's all stuffed underneath the rear tires.
Do we have pictures? Let's put up pictures so we know what we're talking about. I assume the black car is the defendant?
Yeah. Yeah, this is his vehicle here, and he was sitting here on the ground when I came out.
Yeah.
This is my rear bumper here, and he drove the frame. The frame's supposed to be up here.
Which direction was he coming from?
He was coming from this direction here.
Yeah.
And see how this is my house?
Yes.
You see this part here?
Yeah.
The truck was parked next to there. As you can see, the frame here.
Yeah.
This is supposed to connect. He kind of like went through the air and landed on the bumper.
Yeah.
And it broke the whole back of the truck, and it sent this tire. You can't really see it, but it's
okay.
all driven forward.
Now, do we have a picture of the front of your truck?
Yep, the front of my truck, and at the time I was doing an engine swap. I was getting a brand new engine for the truck. So that's why this is all took it apart. The hood was on it, but when you hit it, it sent the hood flying out in my backyard.
Okay. And there's no engine in the front?
No, there's no engine because I was just going to pick the engine up that weekend, which is I told the gentleman that.
Okay, you can go back. So my question to you is, obviously you hit his truck. Why did that happen?
Well, Your Honor, let me start from the top.
I could actually answer that.
I'm actually a caretaker
I'm going to give you a check, yeah.
for a veteran that fought for our country. I'm his only caretaker.
Yes.
And I was on my way to pick him up a specialty fish for Passover.
Gefilte.
Gefilte fish, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, in a blink of an eye, I was waking up next to his car, and I get out of the vehicle, smoking, and next thing I know, I hear this guy running at me. I'm gonna kick your ass like a gorilla. He was just mad as hell. I'm just over there on the ground bleeding, and this guy's coming at me like he's gonna kick my ass. So I tell him, I'll offer you $1,200 for this vehicle. And he's still threatening to kick my ass. Now, if you can bring up the pictures over here, I can show you, okay?
There's
okay, now, as you can see, we've got front end damage over here. We've got no grill on this. We've got no hood. We've got no motor. This vehicle is worth nothing. And his convenient answer that he just got the motor, well, he was taking advantage of the situation. He's nothing but a freeloader. I have evidence stating right here that even in great condition, this vehicle is not even worth $4,200. It's a piece of crap. I don't see where he gets the value of $4,200 out of this lawsuit.
Okay.
When that clearly belongs in a junkyard. Clearly. I mean, it's not worth nothing. Now, look at my
That's a
Honda.
double negative.
In the other case, I'm vehicleless because he parked in the middle of the median like an idiot.
Okay. Why did you hit him?
You know, in a blink of an eye, I was taking a long blink, and now I have a reenactment video. If you could bring that up, actually.
Okay.
I have. If you could bring the reenactment
Is it fair
video.
to say that
Please,
you
sir.
were working?
Please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Now, as you can see, the individual's vehicle was parked in the median here. Now, if he didn't park in the median, I would have never hit this car. I would have been able to swerve out of the way, and we would not be here right now. This is all damage that was there prior.
He drove between the trees, which was through my neighbor's yard.
It was a long blink. I didn't fall asleep, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I have this here, which is the police report. It states he was sleeping, okay? And then I have these pictures, how he said my truck was parked on the median. I have these pictures here. The green lines show where my truck was actually parked and where he drove between the trees, which was through my neighbor's yard, by the way. And I also have here, and this was giving him a break because I'm an auto technician myself and I was doing the work on my own truck.
Yeah.
This is just the main parts for replacing the frame. Just a few things. And I have the book value and range, which is actually $3 grand to $5 grand. And I'm only going for 42 because, yeah, I was doing work on the truck.
The car that was operated by you was going eastbound on John Stark Highway. You told the police officer you only had a few hours of sleep as you are a caretaker and you work overnight. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so that's an honest, fair assessment. You were tired.
Yes.
Okay. You said you were on your way back from shopping for the individual at Walmart and you fell asleep. Okay, so that is the appropriate answer to the question I asked you before. You had fallen asleep, maybe just for a few
It was a long
seconds.
blink. I didn't fall asleep, Your
People,
Honor.
a lot of
It was a
people
long
who,
blink.
we're not saying you took a nap, but people, when they're tired and they've been driving for a long way, they'll suddenly doze for a second or two, but when you doze for a second or two, that accident is what can happen. And you said you went off the road and struck his vehicle. Now, the pictures kind of show that is
I also have
what...
another one here that actually shows his tire marks going.
Okay,
through
so
there.
let me see that.
Your Honor, I have evidence here, too, stating that his vehicle, what he's suing me for, if you could pull up the pictures.
I'm going to get to
gladly-
that question.
Please.
And here are the tire marks. What I
Go
am...
through the neighbor's yard and into mine.
Yes, yes. So what the evidence is showing, number one, you hit his vehicle. Number two, you went off the road to hit and shove his vehicle. So there is no question about your liability for the accident.
Yes,
so
you're-
now the only question I'm left with is how much are the damages? First, I want to know, not that that's the price we're going to settle on, but I want to know what is the value of that vehicle, Blue Book value, and say, not counting the engine, we'll deal with that separately because you didn't damage his engine, okay?
No, sir.
But what is the value in fair condition, because the rest of the vehicle looks in fair condition. What year is it and what vehicle is it?
2007.
A
Ford
2007
F-150.
fair
cab.
condition, what's the Blue Book
Your Honor,
value?
in fair condition, it ranges from $1,693
Six-
to $2,809.
So between $1,600 and $2,800. Now, the plaintiff is saying in the car part estimates that there's a transmission, transaxle, tail lamp, bumper assembly rear, the frame, the pickup box.
This is all damage that was there prior to me hitting this vehicle.
That's in the
It's
rear.
Definitely not worth.
Hang on, sir.
How is-
Okay.
Sir, the judge is speaking.
Taking into account what the Blue Book value would be without the engine, and I'm going to put it at the lower end of its value. So I find for the plaintiff in the sum of $2,000.
It was just crazy. I can't believe the guy thought didn't have to pay anything for my truck because he was sleeping behind the wheel. It's just insane.
If you clearly looked at the pictures, you saw that it had no hood, it had no motor in it, it had no bumpers, it was worth nothing. I feel that this gentleman should have no payments. I'm out of a vehicle now. What am I going to do now?
Plaintiff Donald Stecklein claims the defendant paid her rent late when she paid it all. He's suing for $4,950 for unpaid rent and a security deposit. Defendant, Angela Millican, claims the plaintiff didn't follow through on essential repairs that kept her from opening an in-home daycare. She says she owes him nothing.
Please raise your right hands. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right, thank you. All rise. Case number 39 on the docket. Stecklein versus Millican.
And let's see who we have here. We have the plaintiff, Mr. Stecklein.
Yes.
Welcome, and you are suing the defendant, Miss Millican.
Yes, sir.
In the amount of $4,950. All right, we'll start with you.
Okay. I am suing the defendant for $4,950 in back rent that's owed to me. She's been behind every month that she's lived there so far, and she finally just moved out on me after 10 months.
And how long was the lease for?
1 year.
And why do you think she moved out?
I think she was trying to make it easy on me to find somebody else that could pay because she couldn't pay.
Your Honor, I was married for 25 years.
Yeah.
And have recently been divorced for not even 3 years. Since then, my life has just spiraled out of control. Financially, professionally, all aspects. My children, although they were grown children,
Yeah.
it still affected them. So the last 3 years, I have been trying to get back into life. My son had to move in with me to help me. Mr. Stecklein's son offered me the home in April of 2018 because I had previous business relationships with his son, previously with a home daycare that I ran for 20 years, and my mother had a previous relationship with Mr. Stecklein that she rented from him, also in his home where she ran her home daycare.
Okay, let me see if I have this right. You obviously knew of him.
Yes.
And you have decided now to go into the same business
Yes.
as your mom was, after the divorce.
I wanted to go back into home daycare. The process of me getting started was delayed due to licensing.
Oh, the process of starting the daycare center then.
was delayed due to licensing, the inspections of the home. I mean, all kinds of.
So you knew you couldn't get into business until all that came through.
Right.
So how did you think you were going to pay the rent when you first signed up?
My son, which is my witness, it moved in to help me, okay?
Okay, and you...
But everything was delayed because of the state and inspections. After us living there for just a short period of time, we noticed a stench. The previous tenant left their large dogs locked in the hall, okay? So I said, will you please come remove the carpet in the hall? And I do have evidence of that.
That you requested it
Yes.
because of a stench from the animals, et cetera.
And so Mr. Stecklein, months later, did come cut the carpet out,
Okay.
but never replaced it. The whole time, the 10 months that I lived there, it was concrete.
What do you want to say about this?
I was trying to find the same color and was unable to do that in a timely manner.
Okay, and what do you have to add to the case? What can you tell us?
Well, my husband is really a good landlord, Your Honor. He owns rent houses and he always takes good care of his tenant.
Yes. So you're here just to testify that he's a good landlord.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
And
No one here is questioning your character. Okay? He's bringing the lawsuit because how many months you lived there?
10 months.
10 months.
In
And-
10 months, sir, I was in total communication with Mr. Stecklein the whole time. I
Yes.
literally talked to him not only on a daily basis,
Yes.
sometimes a weekly basis, every 2 weeks, through text, through phone call. I communicated with him 100%, letting him know my situation. Because not only did I have that rent, I had other debt as well.
Yeah.
And I've had to postpone getting a vehicle. I was trying to get my life back on hold, but my main focus was getting my rent paid, to where it ended up making me physically sick to where I had to throw my hands up and say, I cannot do it anymore.
As far as I understand, you're not suing her for breaking the lease. The amount you're suing her for is the rent.
Yes, that's correct.
The rent you owe.
Right.
Now, You also sued for security deposit. I don't see that she had any damage there, so I'm not going to.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to dismiss that part of the case right out of hand. She hasn't damaged your property. Do you have the receipts of the payments you made?
Yes, I do.
May I see those? Because I want to see what she paid. We know what she would owe. If it's $975 a month and she was there for 10 months, if you paid every month, you would have paid him $9,750. In fact, you paid him $5,480. So when we subtract that from what you should have paid, we come out to $4,270 is what you owe him.
Okay.
I'm not here to make life any tougher on you than it already is. But you do owe the rent. You can't stay at someone's house.
Right.
You know, that's their way they make their living. You're going to have to pay that rent. And so I fine for the plaintiff $4,270.
I've known her for a long time and know the family, know her mother, and it's just unfortunate that she had the problems that she had.
Financially, I'm actually getting back on track. I've started a new career and moved into an apartment. I'm actually going to be a grandma. My children are doing wonderful now, and we're just trying to move forward and get past this issue and get our...
Thanks for watching. Now please approach the bench. The way I look at it, you have two options here. Option A, watch more Judge Jerry. Option B, watch more Jerry Springer. The choice is yours. Now get out of my courtroom. You have more clips to watch. And don't forget to subscribe.